Okay, hi, it's John. We're doing I think this is class 6, the 9-week class session, and today we're going to be covering the okay, hang on, this thing. We're going to be covering the name format section under preferences. And just as a review for next week, we'll be doing report and style formats. Following week, we'll be doing the fonts and styles and then the privacy settings. And then the last section, we'll be doing the text and page layout and about section. And for those that may be coming not from the US, this coming weekend, I'll be going on daylight savings time. So that means, yeah, spring ahead. So if you don't go on, so wherever you're at, if you're not going on daylight savings time, this will probably be, I believe, like an hour earlier for you. So, but like I said, if you in the emails where it listed the times, because someone did show it to me that was doing it from Australia and New Zealand, and it did show the time difference, so it should say in your local time, but so just verify, because anyway, so okay, we're going to be starting with, okay, oops, tools, here we go. And it always takes longer when you're waiting for it. And it'll be preferences and then the name format. So we'll be covering these 5 sections. And a lot of these, this is all kind of the same. So it's, so I won't be necessarily going into every permutation of this. Before I start, I have done some where John F. Kennedy, where I've used this AKA fact, they also known as fact as Jack, and then there's other things for, especially where it goes to primary name, I've entered it in like this. So they'll both have advantages and disadvantages. So let's go back into here. And that, like Jack, that's a nickname. So okay, so well, when we I'm also going to, if you have not downloaded the user's guide yet, because if you go into the download section and you can find it from the featured post, look for Stefan's post. And this first link takes you to the download area. Select whether you're a Windows or a Mac user. And right there is where you can download the user's guide. And then, and I do highly recommend, because really, can really go down here, because here's the preferences, boom, boom, boom. Then here's the name format. So these 4 pages here are basically what we're going to be covering. And there's a lot of stuff, he gives some great examples. So if you got someone named here, Dr. Joe Santa Claus Doe Jr., where doctor is the title, John Santa Claus, that's the first and middle names, Doe is a surname, Junior's a suffix. They'll have it so title is doctor, then first, middle, John Santa Claus Doe. If you just say first, middle initial, last name, it'd say John S.C. Doe. First, last name, it'd just say John Doe. First, last name, all caps, it'd say John Doe. And then all given names are main forename, last name suffix. Okay, so this all given names or main forename. So that's just the first name. That can also include nicknames, but this isn't set up as a nickname like Santa Claus. Down here, here, so if you have, say, Carl Jurgen Claudius in parentheses, that's the nickname, Harms. Or here, let's go back to the Dr. John. Here, Santa Claus is in single quotes, and there's other ways you could denote the nickname. And here it's like, here you do John, title, first, middle, all this stuff is all basically the same. But here now say all given names remain forename. Well, now it's going to say Santa Claus, because Santa Claus, that's the preferred name or the nickname. Or you can do all given names underline main forename. So let's say John Santa Claus Doe, which mean, okay, the name's John Doe, but goes by Santa Claus in this example. So let's just start. So you'll see something like this. Just John Fitzgerald, that's just kind of the standard stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. This one over here. I'm going to first kind of cover this thing for determined family married names. This will go for, basically for the women, where basically it will assume the husband's name, or if it's a hyphenated, or it will take the surname of their first child. So in case, maybe the child has a hyphenated name, it would take that too. The advantage of doing this is women will still be listed with, their maiden name, because genealogically they say, oh, just always record women with their married name. By doing that determined family married names, when you go to the index of individuals, okay, this is with I first did this where this was unchecked. So basically you see, okay, John Kennedy, but then here Jackie Kennedy, basically she's just listed with her maiden name, Jacqueline Lee Bouvier. If we tell it to determine the file names, it still lists her as Jacqueline Lee Bouvier. But when we go down to the index of individuals, here she's still listed, but now she's also listed under her married name, Bouvier or Kennedy. I mean, they still point to the same place. It's still the same person. The married woman is just in here twice. And now some of you may know Jacqueline Kennedy. She's the only first lady to ever remarry. She married an Onassis. Now you'll notice Onassis, she's not listed as Onassis in here. In a previous class, I did do a thing where this part is on the indexes class, where if I did the book from her family, because then it did show her candy uh, to JFK and then to Aristotle Onassis. Then Jackie was listed in 3 places. She was listed under Bouvier, she was listed under Kennedy, and she was listed under Onassis. So that is what this does do. Now, if there are certain cases where, maybe for professional reasons, say maybe the woman didn't take her husband's name, or she hyphenated her name, but the kid still just took the father's surname, you can use the custom marriage fact, or I'm sorry, the custom fact married name. And this is in the book. If you scroll down to the appendix, like I said, if you don't print out this whole thing, at least print out this 2-page appendix. So married name, that's page 87. It takes you here. So basically, create a shared thing name called married name, and it doesn't matter if it's lowercase or uppercase, lowercase. And then it also has variations, for different languages, but it all does the same thing, where you can just put in the married name for the woman, or even if there's something special where there may be a case where maybe the man changed his name to the woman's name. I mean, if you go back to colonial or even pre-colonial days, sometimes if the woman was from a more prominent family, and especially if there weren't any male heirs, the husband of the woman took the woman's name. Uh, so um, what you do in that is, I gotta kind of get out of here. I created a shared act called married name, and then so I'm just assuming I just took the case where she took the name Bouvier Kennedy. I mean, she didn't, but for practical sakes, that's what I'm assuming she did. And then let me. I'm just yeah. So then, like I said, it doesn't affect anything here. But now with the individual facts, see, now she's listed under here as Jacqueline Lee Bouvier Kennedy. And she's also just listed with her maiden name still. So so it all pertains to how you want it in the name index. So yeah, and to do that, like I said, you just do the male's name and then the female's surname. And so um, and then yeah, and then that would be a thing. So since Doreen said, since female will show unmarried people with kids as married, while as with partners. I gotta double check, but I think as long as the relationship status is set to partner, I don't think that will go into effect. Um, Actually, I guess I could. Actually, I guess why don't we just try this real quick here? So there is no marriage fact, and let's just say, okay, they are just partners. This won't take too long to um, generate. And then let's just verify, yes, I still have that family names. So oh, whoops, I don't want to save settings. I want to create the document. As partners. So if you do have a married name and she did not want to change her name at all, you would just put in that married name, with basically what her maiden name is. Um, let's see. Um, well, the nickname question, I'll be going back to that one. Name change fact to use the married name if that's what's in the document. Well, if you know what the maiden name, it's always best to use the maiden name. Uh, so it's just about done, so we'll see. Okay, so there's a lot more people. I don't know why this just. I don't know why that one has more people. Okay, so there's Jackie, and yeah, so Jackie is not listed here under Kennedy. So if there's no marriage fact and it's listed as partner, then yeah, they're not married, so it won't assume a married name. So yeah, so you don't have to worry about using that for people that had a kid without getting married. So a woman it won't assume she took that name. So, well, so that was a good question because, like, didn't think about that. So, and yes, that option only affects the index because in all these settings, it just doesn't affect how it lists it here at all. I mean, married name. What did I close that one? Yeah, I accidentally closed that one. Yeah, so it doesn't affect anything there. I mean, and you'll also see here, it lists partner here rather than that they were married, like in here. So it doesn't even state that they were married. So uh Jack worked, and then it even says he is partnered with, and it kind of takes the wording for how whatever that relationship status is. So, but okay, so uh yeah, so now the book title and headings, um well, yeah, let's go on to the nicknames because someone had asked. They said you could use quotes or single quotes. I use single quotes just for the simple fact that if you use double quotes, Family Tree Maker might throw up a warning. But yeah, but you can actually use single quotes. You can use double quotes. You could do an exclamation mark. So in that case, you could do an exclamation. You could just put it in underscores or an asterisk, or even just an all uppercase. So rather than Jack, I could do double quotes, and yeah, then you can disable this, but yeah, so that's why I use single quotes. But yeah, you could also just do a star or an exclamation, or you can do it underline. So it's your choice how you want to do it. Um, that's just how I prefer to do it. But like I said, however you do it, be consistent. Uh, so it comes up to that other screen. Um, and then for the AKA style, you can tell that whether you want it to be bold, small capitals, bold, small capitals. Uh, let's see. So here's where I just use the AKA fact. And I'll be going back to some of these where it doesn't have Jack in parentheses or anything, but then it just says here he was known as Jack. That's what the AKA fact will do, the also known as fact. And then, like I said, whether you want it to be want it bold, you could just have it small capitals, where it'll just be in capitalized, but it won't be bold, or bold and small capitals, or no emphasis at all. Then it'd just be like another statement, where just say he was known as Jack, without the bold. If you tell it to always remove the preferred given name markers, uh, then in the name it won't show up. Let's see here. Because like here's where I had it at that. So it shows this right here. Uh, Jack shows up there. If I tell it to remove the given markers, okay, so here now it's gone from there. Uh, and this only applies um, yeah, that applies to the title, but these settings here are all determined elsewhere, whether or not they'll show up. So um, let me see. I kind of covered this, and typically for marking the nicknames, I generally use it like this. But if for whatever reason, maybe you'd use a single quotes or double quotes for something else, but would want to, okay, I want to use this for a nickname, you could specify, okay, well, maybe, okay, I'll just put an asterisk by the preferred name. Or, you can specify specifically which method you're using to denote it, but you'd really only need to change that as if you use something else like the single quotes, double quotes for something else in your tree. Like I said, consistency is everything. Okay, for the book title and headings, this confused me for a while till I stopped and think about it, because it always says, it gives some statements, first, middle initial, last name, and first, middle name, last name. And it's like that the and was first confusing me until, well, it goes to, okay, the title page. Well, it's for whoever the starting person is. So this is how you want the first name to be. And then that and is how you want the second name to be. So typically you'd want them to be the same. But you can also do something like where is it? So like here, first middle and first middle family name. And I've got an example of that. Trying to think yeah, so here it says, John Fitzgerald Jack and Jacqueline Lee Kennedy. So as opposed to, John Fitzgerald Jack Kennedy and Jacqueline Lee Bouvier, And then here's also where using that married name could go into, because I did do it where it was Kennedy and the Bouvier Kennedy, and then it would say John Fitzgerald Kennedy and Jacqueline Lee Bouvier Kennedy. So that's also where using the married name fact could go into effect. And then the heading format is the same thing. That's just like in the headings for the book. Family, descendants of, so how you want that name to be here. And typically I have that the same as the book, but it doesn't have to be. But that's what those two formats, the title and then the heading format. And then the family chart. So here's how you'd want the name to be displayed in the chart. Maybe you don't need the full formal name. Maybe you'd want to, just first, middle, last, use automatic hyphenation. So if a name is too long, this only applies, well, this doesn't apply for PDF formats. It will apply if you use Word, because Word can do the automatic hyphenation, PDF can't. I'm not sure about like EPUB and stuff like that. I know PDF, it doesn't work. So okay, so now the primary, the same thing is like, here's how the names, how you want used under the portrait, and then the first use style, this is what's handy, is whether you want the first name to be bold, small capitals, no emphasis, because that's where, let's just go back to the book here. So here's the first use style, okay, John Fitzgerald Jack Kennedy. That's first use, so it's bold. And the same thing here with Jacqueline. And then here's where, well, here then you can add the person ID or whether in square brackets or superscript. Person ID is, that's if you turn on the reference numbers in Family Tree Maker. That's under Tools Options. Where basically all that does is it assumes its preferences on Mac. You'd have to turn on this, where basically it makes sure everyone has a unique number. Some people will use that. So if you've got a lot of like John Smiths in your tree, I mean a lot, especially where, you get some families, where they had Tom, Dick, and Harry, and then every one of them had sons named Tom, Dick, and Harry, and they all lived in the same area. And so if you see Tom Smith with, number 1, 2, 3, and elsewhere you see a Tom, Dick 4, 5, 6, okay, they're different Tom Jones. If they're the same, Tom Jones 123, then you know they're the same person. And those you just look like that. No, John F. Kennedy's one. I just did this for the primary person, so you'd get numbers like that. Or then if they're superscript, it's the same thing, it's just how you want to display it. Like I said, usually you'd only do that for people where you got a lot of the same names, and it's just like I said, it's just to distinguish, like one Carolyn Kennedy from another Carolyn Kennedy. So if you aren't sure, well, is this the same person or not? It's like, I mean, I had a thing where it would have been nice in this one family history book I got from a cousin, where it's like two brothers married the Sally Smith, and it's like, well, is this the same Sally Smith or two different ladies named Sally Smith? And here it turns out, yes, it was the same one, but no. It helps remove ambiguity. And I did close this again. And now I just want to clarify, because I believe just don't confuse I think it's book item. Just don't confuse this include person identifiers with this person ID. They are completely separate things. All the person identifier is here is like what their number is in the book. Because let me see. Oh no, I think it's this one. No. I probably did it. Well, basically, this is the person ID that it's referring to here. And so basically, this one would show up here in the chart saying, yep, this is person one. This is Carolyn's person two. JFK was 3, 4. Basically, it'd match these numbers here in the book. And the numbering system all depends on which numbering system. And we'll be covering that later on when we cover the report and style formats. Just going over. So if a spouse is listed but no marriage date is listed, does that mean no marriage fact, or both married? So if a spouse is listed but no marriage date is listed, does that mean no marriage fact, or will both married and maiden name appear? I believe if the relationship status is set to spouse, then family book writer will assume they are married. So, and would person ID apply to the entire tree? Yes, it does. Can you just select it for the males with lots of common names? No, it's all or nothing. So yeah. And then well, Mickey says that because book assigns numbers as a built. Yeah, well, yeah, for this person identifiers, yes, it's all, yeah, it does it as it builds it. And like I said, it all depends upon what numbering system you use. as to what number they get. So, and like I said, oh, that's why that one had some more, because I did an ancestors. Yeah, so the numbering will change is all determined who the starting person is. So okay, let's see here. Back to name formats. So yeah, you can have it do that. Oh, okay, then the repeated mention of names. This is where it can be nice to put the nickname in quotes. Let's see here. Because let's see here. No, that was also known as Jack. Yeah. So this repeated mention of name with main or forename, I mean, you can keep it formal if you want, but if you want it more informal. So if you've got a nickname, then, and so in this case, Jack is the nickname. So elsewhere, it'll toggle between, the he, him, she, her. But then here it says Jack served in the military, rather than John served in the military. Noah's, so he served in the military. John worked as president. So this is where I told it not to. This is where I was using Jack as an AKA and not as a nickname. So that's one way. And then if there is no nickname, then I'll just use their first name. So like this. So that's where the repeated mention of the name goes into. Like I said, you can keep it formal. Like I said, if you got some names, maybe first, middle. So let's ask, what's the difference between AKA and nickname? It's just a matter of how you enter it. Uh, and like I said, and basically how um, Family Book Creator will do it, where it'll just basically do a sentence here where it says he is also known as Jack, as opposed to how it can actually or as opposed to like this where it says Jack served, and it'll actually refer them by their nickname. So, and that's where but you have to store it in the name up here. And like I said, you don't have to store. You can go in here, for the family chart and tell it, okay, I don't want it. This is how it was when I did that book. Maybe you just don't want it. You just want first, middle, last, and or first, middle, last, surname, or suffix. So it all depends upon how you want that displayed. And then likewise, primary partner is just that, it's whoever the partner is in that section. And basically it's all the same options as primary. So yeah, it's like maybe if the spouses, you don't necessarily have to show those person IDs. This is just how you want their parents listed. So it's like when it says, Jacqueline, she was the daughter of John Vernon Bouvier and Janet Norton Lee. So that's just how you want that name done. But like I said, it's all the same options. For children, here's the one I had asked Stefan on what this intro format meant. And that just goes into this section right here. The children of, so how you specify the intro format is how the couple's name is listed. So like if I just did, if I told that like first middle, then it just says, okay, children of John Fitzgerald and Jacqueline Lee. If I did, I think just the initials, I think it was. Yeah, children of John F. and Jacqueline L, So if I just did, yeah, I think I just did that, So this intro format just displays how you want the name to be listed here, right before it lists their children. But then, this is all the same. This stuff is all the same thing listed here, how it's named, repeated mention. Because the children, especially in that children, where they don't have a section of their own, you might have more information on it. So, Carolyn was born in, if Carolyn had a nickname like, I don't know, Bootsy or whatever, where it'd have Carolyn Jean Bootsy Bissett, it would say Bootsy was born in White Plains rather than, so. Louise asked, not clear how to handle women who have not changed their names at all. That's where you would use that married name fact. No, yeah, I removed those. Let me just roll back those where I deleted those facts. Yeah, so let's just say Jacqueline didn't change her name. So you just do Kennedy, then Bouvier. So that's the name of the male, that's the name of the female. So, and it does say in the book, so if you do have, say, a same-sex marriage, 2 men, 2 women, with a same-sex marriage, family book creator automatically assumes that they did not take any, they didn't change their names. But if they did, you'd add this married name fact, and then you could put whatever you want on it. But like with this, then with it, so assuming Jackie didn't change her name, you do this, so then she's just listed with her. It'll just affect the index where it would only list her under the Bouvier. And if you did use a name, if you would use a format where you tell it to use the married name, well, it would just ignore it because there is no married name. So like on here, if you just told it, say, first, middle family name, well, yeah, let's just create this. And it should actually not create one. because there is no real family name. It should say John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline Bouvier. I'll find out here. If you have a description entered for the AKA, will that be used instead of the also known as? Well, the AKA fact is the also known as fact, and there is only a description. So when I say the AKA fact, oh yeah, here it did that. Oh yeah, I was on Jacqueline when I did it. So yeah, it started Jacqueline and then John F. Kennedy. Uh, the name format, where does this refer to in the book? What does it control? Their name under children of? Well, the name format is just how it's displayed in the various sections. Because, this just says, okay, here's how it is on the title. Here's the heading format. Here's how you want the name displayed on the family chart. As primary, here's how you want the name to be listed. Here's how you want the name to be listed under the portrait. How it's first used and repeated. Same thing for partner. Parrots, it's just here's how you want those names displayed in these locations. So that's what all these name facts is, just how you want the name to be displayed and where. Let's see. What about created family names where parents' names are combined for children, not hyphenated, like Zimbar instead of Zimmerman and Bauer? Well, I mean, the kids' names would be entered as is, but if neither, excuse me, but if neither one, say the husband and wife did not change their names, so one's still Zimmerman, one's Bauer, then you'd use the married name and you'd just spell whatever the husband and wife's surnames are, or and then the kids would be entered with the Zimbauer name. So, but if you didn't use the married name, the kids are listed with Zimbauer, then it will assume the woman took the Zimbauer name. So if she didn't, then you'd use the married name fact. And so it'll only apply to the index or anything where family name, like stuff up here where you tell it to use the family name. So that and the index are the same. The only places where those will apply. In a name format, I don't see the option for nickname or AKA. Well, AKA is down here. Where it says nickname, that's kind of like this main or forename. When it refers to that, it will use their nickname if it's available, and that's got to be in the name using one of these notations, either in single quotes, double quotes, an exclamation mark after it, surrounded by the two underscores, or an asterisk. So that will assume that's the nickname. So this is the preferred given name marker. So that's how it determines what the nickname is. So I'm not sure what that hasn't caught up yet with modern naming conventions, because with the married name fact, that does give you the fact. Randy says, yeah, I don't see a married name fact. That's because that is a custom fact, and it's got to be a custom shared fact. And like I said, and that's in the and that is in the user guide. So it's yeah, it is a custom shared fact. And that's yeah, just like FBC has family section, FBC privacy protection. These are custom family tree maker facts. So, and then like I said, if I mean, I'm not sure. I'm sure one of these is that's maybe like I said, you could have it married name, all one word, separated. You know, you could even say last name. I think that's family name. That these might be German. I'm not exactly sure, but or you could just say family name. So you don't have to use the married name, but that there are other wordings you can use, but they all do the same thing. So, and well, that's about it. So unless there's any questions, it's like this determines where you got lots of options, and I mean it's pretty straightforward. You know, title first, capital, initial, last name, all caps, then suffix, or you know, it's just how you want them. How do you do a custom fact? You just go edit, manage facts, call it new, give it the name. It'd be description only. No, so you can just type in married name, and this would be a shared fact, and oh yeah, I did a typo because otherwise it would have heart that it already existed. And now, and also in the files section, if you do want, especially um, these other media categories, um, there's a file section here, and let's see. Oh yeah, this FBC categories 2017.ftmb. That's a tree backup file that's got one person and one media file. So you can download it, you have to restore it, and then you can merge that tree in. Um, like I said, you have to restore that tree first, uh, but then you can merge that into your existing one. Um, yeah, this categories. Yeah, and just import it one, and it will. It's got one person whose name is to be deleted. You can just merge them in. I mean, I already did. Well, I can do it again. It doesn't really matter. Um, oops, people tab. That's what I wanted. It's got this person be deleted, you know, but basically by importing this person, and then like I said, we can delete this. I guess unlink that media, or you can keep it if you want. It's nothing special. You can delete this person, but then those facts are imported automatically, so you don't have to enter them, so they'll be there. And likewise, under media, if you go to categorize media, it will bring in those media categories too, so you don't have to type them in. The sentence structure for the AKA, well, there really is no, well, sentence structure would all go under, let's see here. This also goes all under how you do the fact types. So right here, well, actually, this isn't changeable in Family Book Creator. It's not changeable. So it will literally just say this person went by, or this person was also known as Jack, you know, or however. You really don't have any control over how that's used. So if you'd want to do something different, you'd have to do it a different way. So I showed residence as 1910 to 1930 for the same place. How did you do that? Uh, uh, well, anything for residence. I mean, you know, you can do it between dates. You know, so if it was like 1910 to 1930, you just enter it like that. That's all part of Family Tree Maker. So, yeah, and if you want to do more explaining of the AKA usage, you can actually put that in the notes area for the fact, or just in the person notes area. You know, it's like I know this original tree as I downloaded it just uses a separate name fact, and then yeah, I think I got rid of that note, but you know, it kind of explained where the Jack came from. So the fact notes for the AKA are also a good way of doing it. So are there any other questions? Otherwise, like I said, next week we'll be going over the report and style formats. Because that will be just by itself. Because you do a descendants report, you got one set of options. You do an ancestors, you got another set. So if you do a relatives, there's a few more different options. So, but anyway, and like I said, I go into daylight savings time this Sunday. So if you don't go into daylight savings time, the time will adjust a bit. It'll probably be an hour earlier for you next week. So if there's no more questions, we'll say goodbye. And this video should be up within a couple hours on YouTube. So, well,
Thank you, John.
Yep. Okay. Take care, everyone.